For the first time in the history of the Catholic Church, bishops from around the world are meeting at the Vatican to confront the issue of sexual abuse of children by the clergy. The four-day summit has been convened by Pope Francis, and in his opening address, he acknowledged that the world expects concrete measures to be taken to tackle the continuing scandal. Well, our correspondent James Reynolds is in Rome for us this lunchtime. James.
Ben, the Catholic Church is based on the idea of faith. Faith in God and also faith in the Church's clerics. And it's that trust in churchmen which has been so severely weakened by the abuse scandal. For years, the victims of clerical sexual abuse, felt ignored by a church which covered up their abusers' crimes. This week, they've come here to the Vatican to demand that this conference takes real action. This morning, cardinals and bishops arrived quietly. The Catholic Church takes its biggest decisions when its most senior officials are summoned into one room. Almost 6 years after a conclave picked Francis as Pope, the Pontiff has asked this group to stop and reflect.
Together we might listen to the Holy Spirit and listen calmly to his guidance, to hear the cry of the little ones who plead for justice.
In the opening session, the Pope's closest allies occasionally found themselves overwhelmed.
The wounds of the risen Christ carry the memory of innocent suffering, but they also carry the memory of our weakness and sinfulness.
Peter Saunders, an abuse victim who has tried to work with the Vatican, calls on the Pope to take clear steps.
Zero tolerance has to mean zero tolerance. Priests, anybody who abuses, must be out of the church permanently. People who cover up, bishops, cardinals, officials, anybody who covers up for these vile crimes must be excluded from the church.
This conference will continue until Sunday. A Pope who inherited a decades-long problem now seeks answers for an ever-deepening crisis which threatens to define his entire papacy. And in the Pope's opening address this morning in the Vatican, he said that victims expect concrete and effective measures to tackle the abuse scandal. And victims, some of whom have gathered here in the Vatican, will hold him to that promise. Ben.